Thank you. And hi, Saf. When we had last session together, we stopped the session abruptly. There was the fourth being that was trying to come in to communicate with us. Can you tell us now who that was?
It was, it's just seen as it is Trump. It was, I guess, had more to say. Trump's higher self.
I see. And do you get a sense of what Trump's higher self wanted to tell us?
She is not coming in at the moment, but we welcome you to ask that again in a bit.
Okay, thank you. So we'll call on Trump's higher self and ask for more information about what they were wanting to talk to us in that previous session.
Okay. Hello.
Hi there. Thank you for coming in. Can you let us know why you're wanting to come back into the previous session that we had?
I know that you had, I believe, another question for me, and I was kind of in the middle of giving you all a breakdown of what is going on here. It is very much just ties back into the big picture that you were receiving. But I do want to say to that although it is nice when you keep your when you are attentive to what is going on in the world, that these types of questions are just a very, very, very small kind of the beginning uh, of the big game. You know, so this is like the starting line, but there's so much more. So when you hear about the events going on, whether it's in the United States or across the world, just it's okay for you to go within and ask for clarity on those. But of course, we want to clarify not to be in fear, because fear is just going to drag you down to a lower, a lower consciousness, and that is the opposite of what we all need right now. So, although it's okay to tap in a bit, it is not. We do not want you to focus any types of concern, especially concern, in the direction of these events and these stories that are rolling out. And we do, however, welcome people spreading good energy towards them, and even people that are in prayer. They also help us when that is what we were saying about when the consciousness is directed to these specific problems, that it does help us collectively, and that's a lot of times why these get out. But we just want to just reiterate that it is the questions that you're asking, although there's not wrong to ask them, are just really almost, we want to say, insignificant compared to the really big picture. And we do recognize that you got a taste of that, and have more going on, but I just just want to reiterate, do not be alarmed. And I was wondering what other questions you had for me?
I would love to know what significant questions are the most appropriate for me to ask you right now.
At the level that you are digging into the information, you're it's not essential, but your efforts really could be even more focused on like how, like if you're asking about something in the United States or something related to the to Donald Trump, it could even be more so how he's, well, we do not want to put words into your give you tell you something to ask, because it may not be significant or helpful for your purpose, but just know that it's to think of it as in a much broader picture. And if you want to know something related to him or to the United States, and or into the world, to anywhere, just to just relate big picture, not so much pinpointed on like a specific event. So like if you were wondering about the destroyership and the Golden Gate Bridge, is that going to happen? But maybe, how, like, what is a bigger perspective of this? Like, how is this, changing or helping? But like, we just feel that with the time that you have left, it is fine if you want to ask those questions for your listeners, or for people that that have the questions. But just know that those type of events, although they seem significant to human beings, they are just so minute in comparison to really the big picture and everything that's playing out right now. Please do not take that in the wrong direction. We are not saying it's wrong. We are just saying it's very insignificant, and you are already asking much bigger questions and exploring much larger concepts than just a single event or single story that's occurring currently.
Okay, thank you. It was more clarification that someone had been channeling saying that this was going to happen, so I wanted clarification on that event. And where the response was that it was targeted, but it did, in our timeline, it doesn't seem like that's going to be a problem.
Yes, that is correct. It was a scenario that was in the works, and the Golden Gate Bridge was definitely a target, but no, that is not something that will occur.
Okay, thank you. And so,
can I just again relate that back? Sometimes those things are either leaked or spread, or even put into like prophecy type downloads, so that people, when they hear it, they focus um, their attention, their consciousness to it in a preferable way. Like there is no doubt that if some groups of people heard this channel saying that this event was going to occur, they would not be happy and waiting for it and rooting for it. They would send love and light. They would send out prayers. They would pray for us for protection. And so when that energy is put into those scenarios in the correct way, that is helpful to us. That is what we were explaining about, using the collective consciousness to our advantage. It's not that we need it, but it is beneficial. So that many times that is why these things happen. So to direct consciousness in the right way. We would also like to state that the opposite occurs as well. So there's sometimes there are events that are that come out in the news, and And it is something that is brought to the collective attention to help awaken them. We will use the example of the babies who were being used for adrenochrome purposes and rituals. And so this is something that came out for a time and was part of the great process of awakening humanity to the bigger truth, and the truth is, and the truth, and that there's so much that is kept from you. But if you may have noticed, that was a story that when it came out, it was powerful, and it was a definite stepping stone to helping many humans awaken. However, that was not something that was beneficial for them to focus on. So those stories also quickly diminished, and a lot of beings would blame media for this, and that, like, the control of the media. But this is also something that works together for a bigger purpose. And so when that goes away, so maybe because of your quote corrupt media, it is also kind of out of sight, out of mind, too much of consciousness, so that they are not focusing their energy. That is something that is very, very horrific, and the energy that kind of goes along with the with humans focusing on that is not a good thing. We do not need them to pray it away. That is something that has been stopped already. So it was used as a stepping stone to awaken, but then it went away as well. So this is something that you can just kind of, play a little game with yourself as you're tapping into the news, and kind of figure out, oh, what would they have used that for? Or, that sure is short-lived. I wonder why that went away so fast. And just know that, again, everything is all working together the way it should be.
Thank you.
This is also, and we do understand that this is something that is confusing when channels, especially channels or leaders in any field, who are putting out information, and they have followers, and the information isn't necessarily the correct picture. It's not necessarily the big truth, but this is everything that is put out there is put out for a reason, and there are people that are supposed to hear that. There is circumstances that that lends itself to. But just remember, we do reiterate often in these sessions that you can easily go within. You can easily access us and ask for clarity on these things as well. So obviously, do not believe everything. And we know, Joe, you do not believe everything that you hear and see and are told. But this is very important for everyone to remember at all times, and use the filter. We are your filters. Use us. We're here. We're waiting, to help you and guide you and give you clarity on all these things, and just continue. You and your listeners are very, very, very much awoken, very, very much advanced in their thinking and understanding. And we are so appreciative of that, again, because it helps us in so many ways. It helps the big picture in so many ways. It helps the people that they know and this is all wonderful. But we just want to make sure that you're focusing on, the levels that you are already at, and you do not have to necessarily go down and get those little minute details anymore.
Thank you. So can you please tell me the most significant question I should be asking you next?
We really cannot give you a cushion. We want to give you the guidance of focusing on raising consciousness. Focus on raising consciousness. It is so important. It is important to every being, human beings, alien beings, animals, our planet Earth, other planets. It is so vastly important. And with a little bit of time left, this is what should be more focused on. All of the questions that you have are intriguing. They're interesting, and we know that they do help the awakening process. But the awakening process is for the purpose of raising consciousness, raising the vibration of humanity and Earth as a whole, and that is absolutely what is big picture important right now, so that this shift can happen smoothly, easily for everyone. The shift is not, as you know this, we are not telling you anything new, but it is so much more than just a shift of humanity. This is something that affects all beings, all divine beings, and all planets, all energy. This is an event that is important for all.
Thank you. So, if raising the consciousness is so important, why are we not hearing more truth about the shift being off planet? Why are we not being told the truth? Why are channelers not being told that we're moving off planet? Why are people still saying 5D is just a mindset?
Because humanity is so sheltered and hidden from the truth, and so it is not even near the level of thought and consciousness that most of humanity is at, to be able to really hear and process and understand and be okay with the fact that they will be evacuated from this planet. It is unfortunate. It is definitely something that would be, if it would be far better if everyone, or the majority of humans, were ready to hear that type of information. But the reality is they are not. They the deception and the lies and the the vast ways that the truth is kept from them, and has been for so long, has put you in a position that it is truly unbelievable, and we will say shocking, to hear this truth for most people. And so this is why we say baby steps, and we know that each of these baby steps are working. Consciousness is definitely being raised. Awareness is being raised. The vibration is being raised. For sure, all of these things are occurring, but we can't just boom, smack them in the face with that truth that they will be evacuated from this planet. So practitioners and channels, I mean, they are receiving the information, and they are spreading the information that, first of all, they are allowing themselves to accept. So if they are not at a state of consciousness where they can hear the truth, then they're not going to hear it. You can walk up to someone on the street and tell them the truth, but if they are not at a level of preparedness to hear that, or if it is not in line with their purpose and their life contract, they will not hear that. And so and that's that's perfectly okay. So the practitioners that you're speaking of, one of two things: either they have not done their own work, they have not raised their own consciousness enough to even receive the biggest truth. So obviously they cannot spread that. So that would be one scenario. And the second is that, again, everything works together for a greater purpose. So there also is the purpose in them spreading the amount of information that they have received as truth to them, to their listeners or their followers, because that is the level that they are at. If we just gathered up a big old group of humanity that wasn't ready to hear this, and we shouted from the mountaintop that, hey, very, very, very shortly, everyone will be evacuated off the planet, it is going to do the opposite of what we need. This will induce much shock, much fear, terror, stress. It simply is just not where the majority of humanity is resting and ready to hear. So it is frustrating, we know, for you to hear this truth being spread, but when you go within yourself, you know absolutely that you are receiving truth and that you are spreading truth. There's no doubt to you, and you just must trust that they are spreading the information that they are receiving for a reason. Either they aren't ready for the truth themselves, or their listeners and their followers and the people around them are not ready as well.
So when you tell someone things here on earth are not going so well at all, and we have to shift to go to a better place that is going to be much more beneficial for us, where there are no taxes, we don't have to work for a living, we can be more profoundly connected to the earth, people, and the environment, and be a much better human being around other much better human beings. I think it's the delivery of the information about what we're going for to be on the new earth that shouldn't shock people too much when they know the outcome. If you say we're moving off earth, that's it, yes, people will freak out. But when you tell them the full honest truth and the bigger picture of everything, surely, while there is a process of shock, I mean, how long would it truly take someone to really hear the full truth and be able to process that?
There's a lot of pieces to a human puzzle, and their consciousness just does not work that way. You are able to process it much, much more similarly to what you just said, and a lot of your listeners are as well, because you are much higher and much more advanced in your thinking. But please understand that most of humanity is not at that level, and so when things like ego come into play, their mind goes elsewhere. And fear, the amount of fear that's been instilled in humanity um, is is beyond comprehension. And so they don't just automatically drop their ego and drop their fear and go straight to the end result. That's not how much of humanity is taught to think, first of all, and it's not even what they're taught will happen. You also need to remember that there's many kinds of teachings and like religious practices that come into play too. And so when a being is taught, their whole life, and it's ingrained in them that something will happen in this certain way, either it's how they die or what the end of the world looks like or what will play out, that doesn't just instantly go away because you or a friend or someone on the street or teacher that they're listening to it tells them otherwise. It just does not go away. And that's your humans' minds are fragile, and if the proper steps are not taken, then it truly does go the opposite direction than we needed to. And so the fear and the sadness and the shock and the even the anger, right? Humans do not understand that, most often, that first of all, that their circumstances are their own, that they signed up for this. They also, many of them don't understand that they will have many other opportunities after this lifetime. So human beings are very, very, very invested in their life, and it is not something to be taken lightly. When if someone just says, hey, by the way, everything that you've worked for, everything that you've taught, everything that you feel, everything that you know is going away, but don't worry, because everything's going to be fine. You won't have taxes, and you won't have pain, and you won't, what, it just does not, their minds most often are just in relation to their level of thinking. They're not in line with how you think and how many people that you know thinks, and it just doesn't happen that way. They just not automatically shift their level of thinking to that end result. And although we would love to say this is the case, and just tell them the truth, they'll get over it. It is just not. It's just not how it works. They have to be ready. They also have to do the work. If every human being was taught from birth to explore within themselves, and if they were told the great truth, then this just would not be an issue. But that is not what happened. And human beings, the vast majority, do not know how to go within. They do not know how to ask the bigger questions. They don't even know that they're supposed to ask the bigger questions. And this is why all these steps that we've been discussing with you for so long now, and must really play out in a perfect, very, very, very careful balance. And we're sad to deliver this message, but it is the case.
It's totally fine, thank you. So when someone stumbles across a video like this with the bigger information about what's happening in December, how long do you think in days, weeks, will they be able to process this? Because they know that they can't shift the shift. See what I just did there? They can't change the event. It's happening regardless of whether they want to or not, or whether they want to manifest something else. How long does it normally take someone to be able to process this information?
Well, first of all, if it is not in line with their life purpose and their contract, then it doesn't matter if they hear it or not. It will not resonate with them. They may make a mockery of it. They may just ignore it. It'll just go away. So if some beings, when they listen to it, it will do nothing. No amount of time will change that. The beings that it is supposed to resonate with, it will. And if they will start by hearing just the information that their baby steps, they will not understand, and they will not try to understand the parts that are greater than their level of consciousness. But if it is in line with their life purpose and their contract, where they want to be at this point as far as awakening goes, then it will resonate with them. They will continue to listen. They will ponder it. They will come back for more. Each time they listen, they are awakened and elevated more and more and more. That is why many of your listeners almost become what we will call addicted. They do crave more recordings, more information, because it is almost feeding that level of enlightenment that they very much desire, and that does feel good. That does resonate with them very much so. So the more that they are able to kind of relax and not judge the information and just listen, the more they will absorb, and the more that they will, that their consciousness will elevate. So most often, this is what actually happens because we are also guiding them. We are putting the information in front of the people that need it and the people that are ready for it. So the people that are listening most often are ready to listen. And when it resonates with them, they continue to listen. And every single time they do, they are elevated in their consciousness and in their awareness, their awakening, their vibration, everything. That's exactly what we need. But not everyone is ready to hear your information.
Thank you. Not everyone's ready to hear your information. I understand that. I'm just part of it. So thank you very much. I love that. It is very, very helpful to be reminded of that. So thank you. The subconscious or higher self, please can you call in Jesus? I have a few questions for him.
I am here.
Thank you very much for coming back. Can I ask, was it your first lifetime being Jesus?
Are you referring to my first lifetime on Earth or my first lifetime in existence?
I would love to know if it was your first lifetime on Earth.
Yes, that was my first lifetime on Earth.
What was your other lifetimes before coming to Earth?
I have had many lifetimes. I have spent a great deal of time learning my lessons and living many lives in order to receive and the information and the lessons and the knowledge that I need to that have brought me to where I am.
Did you have any other lifetimes after your lifetime as Jesus on Earth?
I'm mostly here with you. I will say, drop in to other lifetimes as needed, but my greatest focus is on humanity, as especially as this event is will soon be occurring. But as this has been in place and in plan for a very, very long time, I have had many roles to play in helping humanity, both on when I was on Earth and after my life on Earth. So it is, I would say, my number one focus and priority, but it is not my only priority, and I am not in, what you would say, literally in one place waiting for this shift. There are other things that I am doing at the same time as well, but humanity is my love and is my greatest focus.
Thank you very much. I'm curious about your lifetime as Jesus. Did you get married at all?
No, I did not get married.
Did you have any children?
I did not have children.
Are you going to have any future lifetimes on Earth? Sorry, on New Earth or Old Earth.
I will visit. I will go down to Old Earth once again. As is said, I will be with the ones who need me, the ones who call me, the ones who expect to see me will see me. I will be there. It will not be for a full lifetime. It will be merely to help and to be with the ones who need me at that time. I will be on New Earth as well. I will not have the exact same duties, but I will be a familiar presence as humanity transitions, and I will be there for those efforts and events as well.
Thank you. There does seem to be.
She is seeing him on New Earth, and she's seeing the beings. Just she's experiencing it as like they are just running to him for comfort. There are many beings that will not in any way be prepared or know that they will be shifting, and so when the shift is complete, he will still be a comfort to many.
Nice. Is it? It seems to be that lots of people are believing that you did get married to Mary and that you did have children. What do you want to say about that?
My life was celibate. There was not a marriage in that lifetime.
What was her role? What was Mary Magdalene's role with you?
She was with me as a provider. She did help to provide for my human needs, such as food and helping in the transitional periods when I would go from one location to another. She was always a comfort and a help for my human needs in that lifetime. My soul purpose in that lifetime was to lead humanity. There was not times, there was not many times when, there really wasn't any times when the things that I would be doing or experiencing were for me. There was, if it appeared to be for me, it was so that I can connect to a higher guidance. And but that was not a life that was for my pleasure. That was a life with a very distinct purpose, and that is the purpose that I carried out in my time there.
Can you tell us something about your life that we didn't know that you want to share with us that's important to you?
There would be beings who knew this about me, but my greatest love and human satisfaction was teaching children. It is something that brought me great joy. Children very, very openly accepted information and the feeling of love. At those times, there were many, I'll say, older um, beings that were already very much corrupted by information and indoctrination. And I faced great resistance. And with it being of great importance to me to spread love to everyone, it, I will say, it was beautiful feeling to me when children easily accepted love and easily accepted my teachings without resistance. So many times I would be seeing the very big smile on my face and maybe acting somewhat childish when I was around the children. And that is because it was a beautiful, beautiful feeling for me to be in their presence and experiencing their energy at a time when there was much pushback and much disbelief of why I was there and the information that I was teaching.
Thank you. Did you have any brothers or sisters from your parents? Obviously, talking about like biological, it's not just we're all one connected.
Yes, I did have a direct brother, and I had other uh, siblings that were not fully blood siblings as well.
Um, did your parents have other relationships and have other children from different partners?
Yes, my father had welcomed children before me. My mother had not welcomed children before me, but did welcome children after me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate this very evasive, private, detailed question that I'm giving to you. I'm just curious, more so about your life. Is there anything that you want to tell us about your birth that can give us more insight into who and what really happened?
About my birth,
Mm-hmm.
I am not sure exactly what information you were looking for. I will say that my birth was a very, very private experience, and many of the teachings do make it sound as if many, many people knew and came, and did not exactly happen that way. It was a very private event for my family, and it took a great deal of time for word to be spread of my birth. And once that word reached um, those that I was supposed to reach, they did seek me in the ways that they were supposed to. So the story sounds like a baby was born and it was announced over a loudspeaker first day, and people came to see and witness and followed me from there on. You must know it is a much slower process, and I did have a childhood as any other being born onto earth would have. And so I was not born and then announced and then followed by a great number of people in the short amount of time that the stories often refer to. And we know that that is a rather an analogy, but just to give you the insight and the thought that I was also a child, not always the grown human that is most often discussed.
Thank you.
Is there anything further you would like to know?
I feel really rude asking about your crucifixion and how you came back to life after 3 days.
What would you like to know?
What happened?
Oh, okay. So we must know that as well played out the way it was supposed to. Um, there was a great number of people who acknowledged and accepted the information that I was telling them. And the purpose of this information was to lead humanity in a good direction away from lower level awareness and lower level acts, and just to lead them to light in a higher state. And just as beings experience now, there were beings that intuitively knew and accepted what I was saying was for their benefit and was in truth and was in love. And there was a great deal of people that were very, very much below the level of light that they should have been in, who this directed them to very much will say fight the information that I was showing them. These people band together and worked and fought very hard to see to it that I could not spread this information and my teachings any longer. I would like to say that it is specifically noted that I was crucified under Pontius Pilate. Pontius Pilate was he was a being that was in my favor, but was very much overtaken by the great number of people who wanted to see me destroyed. So it did happen under his watch, but not because of him. He did not make the sole decision. He really did not have the choice like it may seem that he had. And the fact that this was supposed to happen anyway did not give him much choice in the matter, even if he did want me to perish. So as it played out exactly as it was stated it would. I was put to death. My death was supposed to be a very visual experience. It was another point in awakening people, which it did. It is something that I accepted and knew would play out. It is something that I was very, very much supported and comforted in as it was playing out. I was experiencing pain. I was experiencing a level of fear that I had not experienced yet in my lifetime. But this is because I was human. I was human. I feel the effects of the human emotions just as other humans did. It was not a beautiful scene or a beautiful experience in itself, but it was part of a plan and a picture that was put into place to continue to awaken beings not only at that time, but beings much, 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 much further into future times to a greater truth and to divine and the knowledge of divine existence. And that is that that is that was the result of this. The resurrection was a very important part of this, as most humans did not believe that there was divine power at that time. And other times in history, they did. It was very much known, very much acknowledged. But at that time that I was on Earth, humans were much more closed to the idea that there was life after Earth and life outside of Earth. So resurrection was to very much point people towards the sky, point them to their divine makers and to their higher powers, and to open their eyes and their hearts and their minds to the reality that very much existed and does exist. It is something my resurrection was very much mocked and very much doubted by the people who were not ever open to the greater truth, and that is okay, as all of humanity is not supposed to be awakened. At the same time, I shall say, but it did serve its purpose in awakening a great number of people, and again, direct them to their divine leaders and the knowledge that they should believe in more, have faith in more, trust in more, and seek more. Is there more that you would like to know?
I'm curious to know if you were born on December 25th.
Not exactly, but it is very okay. This is an acceptable date. There is nothing wrong with this, but at that time, the calendars that exist are not exactly in line with what they are today. And so that is not the exact date, but it is not a harmful representation either.
Thank you. Some people think that you come from Anunnaki, and some people think you could be Palladian. Is there anything you want to tell us about who you truly are?
We are only able to show her the Jesus that she is believing in, and many beings are believing in at this time, because it is a very important step in humanity's ascension. Not in all humanities, but in a very, very, very large number of humanity's ascension steps. So we do not want to change that visual or diminish the high being that he is and was put here, the purpose that he was put here. We thank you for your interest, and it is not wrong. It's just not something that we can reveal at this time.
Thank you very much. I understand. Okay. Is there any final messages that you have for us before you can?
She is just seeing him smiling, which is different. And the other times that she's experienced him, he was a little more, she would say, somber. He is definitely looking at us with a different light. He's looking at us with a smile, and she would say a presence that is very acceptant of this visit and these questions. He has also opened his arms widely, and within his arms, this beautiful light that he is spreading, she'll say spreading on us, that he is kind of allowing to fall upon us. And it is beautiful. It is a different, very different than the other ways that he has reacted, we'll say, to the other questions in these sessions. And hold on. Yes, I do find favor in your questions, and I find great joy in your ability to, and your bravery to ask these things, and it is a delight.
Well, thank you. I did feel very curious George moment, wanting to know some of this information, but also feeling like I'm crying.
You must remember that I was put there as a very noticeable, very prominent, very known being for a reason. It is not within that purpose for me to be forgotten or for the truths to be overlooked. it is favorable for you to be thinking outside of the parameters that you may have heard or have been taught. And it is also beneficial in awakening you and others, just like once again, to the fact that you are not provided all the information. And this is very, very important. Mm, Definitely not just in relation to me and to my life on earth and to my teachings, but again, the purpose of me being there to awaken people to a greater truth, a greater, much, much, much greater truth. And so, in I will say, investigating these questions, you are again opening people's minds and helping them to take just another step in the direction that they need to raise their awareness, raise their consciousness, raise their vibration, raise their own being.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I ask you to recede to we belong with much love and gratitude because the great all the information you can share with us. And I'll ask for the higher self to come back, please.
I'm here.
Thank you. Higher self, are you able to tell me if Noah's Ark was real?
Yes, it is. It was real, and um, we are showing her a better representation. We will say that it is not absolutely in line with the representation that is described in the story of it. It was a more of a figurative occurrence. It did exist. We are not saying it did not exist, but it was not. Um, it did not play out exactly as the story is told.
Okay. I'm curious to hear more about what actually occurred.
Well, we must tread lightly with this answer again because there's so much belief and faith and trust in these stories that were given to you. So, although it's important for everyone to know that they are not distruth, they are just not the entire picture. So, you have already helped in the awakening of the fact that there is a much, much bigger picture. So we do not want to diminish the story overall. But we will say it was, it definitely did exist, but it was more of a, served more for the purpose of the story than of actually protecting Noah and his family and animals at that time. Noah and his family and animals were protected because um, it was divinely guided that they were protected. So it was not necessarily that they were safe on a boat for, as you would say, 40 days, 40 nights. They were safe. There was a boat. that they were safe because of that was the divine plan at that time.
Okay. So who else was helping Noah?
Noah was protected as there was great events happening around him. So, are you asking of human beings?
I'm asking if there was any other higher beings that were helping him.
Yes. Higher beings did protect Noah during the time period when there was great destruction going on around him. Again, it is just not exactly as it was told. There is a greater truth and a greater maybe bigger picture to that story, but it is, we do not want to diminish the faith and the trust and these stories that were put in place for a reason. And it is not important to know each detail of it, but it is important to know that did not unfold exactly as it is told, and neither has any other situation or time period on earth. You have been closed to these greater truths for a very, very long time. Some of it is part of your veil, part of what must be done to um, just to that is just how the human um, existence was planned, and you are also veiled in a different method by human beings and other beings that did not want you to know the greater truth. So at this time, we are those stories and the reason that those stories exist. That time period is coming to a close. So it is not a good time to necessarily unravel them, but it is a good time to reiterate that there is also more to the story. There is more truth that you do not yet know, but you will know.
So intriguing. Thank you. Is there anything
We,
else?
we also just want again to show you that this is it is huge. The teachings in the Bible and and Christianity and the other religions that also follow these same people and stories and teachings. There's a huge purpose to these, and they have affected a great deal of people in a great, very vast time frame. However, we just want to again bring you to the awareness that in the big picture, that these stories and these events and these teachings are again a pinpoint of what has occurred, a pinpoint in time, a pinpoint in the big picture of not just, not just humanity, but very much a pinpoint in the reality of a much greater existence.
Thank you. I think we're mostly very aware now that most of the stories we've been told have not been exactly as they panned out. And so I feel like we're more coming from a curiosity point of view of, what the truth was. And while we understand that there are importances to such tales, it's still very interesting to kind of get more greater sense of what truly happened, just for giggles.
We do fully understand that, and we are giggling with you about that, and we are welcoming that. Please do not think that we do not want to discredit these, what we will call smaller or less important questions. We can make light of them as well, but we, again, just the mere fact that we are in such an important time period, and with so little amount of time left, we have always and will always feel that it's important to direct you again back to the bigger picture. So as long as you are okay with that bop in the head that there is a big picture after your silly question, then we are perfectly happy to entertain your questions as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And so, yes, I understand your bigger hopes for us is to raise our consciousness, and learning more about the mistruths, I guess, may not raise our consciousness. I do you want to give me some great examples of how we can go about raising our consciousness?
Yes. So for the teachings that were used, and we'll call them the big, prominent religious or spiritual teachings, they have um, they have played their role in earning people's beliefs or trust, and so with the knowledge that there is a greater truth, or that the truth was withheld, there is many circumstances where knowing the details or the extent of those mistruths could very much make the human consciousness step back a few steps, if you will. It is not a big deal. So again, it is okay that you're exploring these. But this is not something that we would allow a great number of people to hear, because at this time it is important for the people that are following these teachings and these spiritual guides and their faiths and their beliefs. It is important for them to rely on them at this time, and not to um, there's many people that need to be awakened to so much more, that we do not want them awakened to all of the untruths in what they were taught. We hope that makes sense again to you and to many people around you and many of your listeners. This is not the case. They are curious, and that is human nature, and that is okay. But there is no way we would ever allow those type of questions and details to be, we will say, very much widespread, as it is great importance for people to rely on their higher teachers, or their spiritual teachings, their divine leaders, and for guidance during this time, because it is those spiritual teachers, or the divine beings that they trust, and it is them that when they call on them, they are opening the doors to a greater awakening and to the help that they need at this time. To answer your question about, I would say more of the people that you are in line with, we just want to very much reiterate the things that you already know and the things you've already been told, which are go with it and go with it and go with it. And whatever that means for you, if that is through meditation, then please meditate. If that is through soaking in a salt bath or laying on the beach or listening, to healing frequencies and music, then whatever you have been led to do, whatever it is that really truly reaches you at the depths that it is supposed to, that is what we are asking you to do. And when you are doing these practices and when you are calm and when your mind is clear of things going on in the world and what the TV just said and what social media just said, when you're allowed or when you allow yourself to escape from that, we ask you to just be open to receiving. There's so much that we are trying to show you and trying um, to lead you towards, trying to communicate with you. And if you do not go to this place within, if you do not find that peace, if you do not find the quiet, if you do not release the emotions that are holding you down um, because a neighbor or a guy at a restaurant, made you upset, then you are not going to be in a place where you can receive the information that we want you to receive. So please go there, do all of these things that make you be able to relax and be quiet enough that you can go within and receive the information. Also, it is important to treat your vessel properly, and when your vessel is feeling good, you are able to rest in this peace. And this peace is a place that we are able to connect with you, even if you're not looking for it. On the flip side, the people that are looking for it just have to ask and be open to hearing the answer, because we are always there and always willing to answer. So again, these are things that we have said before. This is nothing new. It is merely a reminder to just do it. You already know about it, so you just have to actually do it.
Yes, do it, do it, do it. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that reminder. So thank you.